Help support the companies that support our community. Welcome back. Today we're going to do another Q&A. I had some questions from the last one I did. And don't forget, if you have any more questions, leave them below in the comments and we'll get to another one soon. So before we head to the lathe, a couple of quick questions. So the first one was somebody wanted to see the difference up close between the negative rake cutter and the regular cutter. So here's a detailed picture of the difference between them. So the negative rake is for doing hard materials, really hard wood and things like resins. It works very well for that. And then the flat one is for doing regular stuff. Hardwoods too, but when you get into some crazy hard wood, these work well as with resins. All right, that's with those. And the other question was about sanding. So what sanding speed do I use? So my lathe goes down pretty slow, so I normally sand around 150, 200. If your lathe doesn't go down that slow, just whatever speed, the slowest speed you can go is. If you're sanding at a high speed, you're really not sanding the wood. It's actually just kind of skipping along the top of it. So I also go forward and reverse. So I'll do a grit in forward, I turn reverse the next grit and back and forth, so that those fibers aren't just being all like laid down in one direction. You're flipping them back and forth and sanding them down. So it works very well, especially if you use the oil I use, the Howards. You don't want to turn the lathe speed up. It's just going to make a giant mess. All right, let me get the camera moved over. We'll take a look at a couple of questions I had as far as turning on the lathe. All right, so Eric had a question about the carbide as far as it grabbing. So I was trying to help him work through what might have happened. This isn't a segmented piece like he was working on, but I'll explain it to him. I don't have a segmented piece ready. So if you're coming in from the side right here and you have a segmented piece going around, it could catch one of the joints in it and drag the tool in. So that might have been what was happening. So what I do is keep the tool rest up pretty close to the workpiece, keep it on center, tools flat, all of that, and take nice light little cuts. And I usually, something like this is pretty close to round, not too far off. So I keep the lathe speed up around 2000. Just make sure that the tool is down flat on it. Going light little cuts like that. It's not trying to grab it and drag it in. So you can also come in from the side here. And that will eliminate a little bit of that as far as catching a joint or something in the glue coming from the side there. So just make sure that tool is flat, because if it's up at an angle and you put it in there, it's going to slam it down and that could get it to catch. As long as the tool's flat, and I'm just taking slight little cuts until I get the whole thing true. The only thing I can really think of is if it grabbed and tried to feed it in, is it caught one of the glue joints on it. But just like that, just make sure it's flat. I put my thumb down on the top of it, and keep the tool rest up close, and it works pretty well. All right, the other question was from Dennis. So Dennis was turning 2x4s or 2x10s. Actually, he glued up some 2x10s and was going to turn a bowl out of it. So when you're turning softer woods like that and you have your glue blocks together like this is all the end grain on the outside of it. So years ago I turned some 2x4s or something like that. I can't remember, some sort of 2x6s, and when you put the tool up to it, and I think it was just a regular gouge as well, it grabs the corner of it and rips chunks of it up. So when you're turning wood like that, 2x6s, 2x10s, always come in from the side. So if you want to make this into a bowl, don't come in from the face of it here, or actually from the side of it here. You want to come in from the face. No matter what tool you're using, you want to, whether it's gouges or the carbide, come in from the side, and it won't chip out on you. The likelihood of it is very, very minimal. come in from the side and shape your bowl like this. Don't come in from the make your tenon down on the end of it, but keep working your way around that way. And you shouldn't have any problems. I've done a couple of them where they, you know, came out just fine, just come in from the face of it. All right, I hope that cleared up those two questions. As far as, you know, turning with the carbide, just make sure it's down flat on the tool rest, and then that way when you come up to it, I always try and keep the tool rest maximum about an inch away from the workpiece, and then I just kind of, as it gets true, I keep moving it up and just make sure it's flat. And then if you're turning stuff like 2x4s or 2x10s, make sure you come in from the face of it, and that way you'll have better success with that. All right, the last thing is the pin cushions. We did these last week. I was really surprised all the comments and just everybody's super excited about them. I love a little project like this too, especially if you do craft shows or even sell in galleries. Small things like this sell very well. They, you know, you can have your larger pieces at the shows, but it's smaller items that do really well. Things like this, bottle stoppers, bottle openers, as far as gift shops and things like that, these items sell. They're not too expensive for, you know, everybody, and not everybody's going to come in there and buy, you know, a $300 bowl or something, but they can go out of there with a, you know, $20 or $30 item. So you open up your market a little bit, and I think they'll sell really well. The pin cushion, as far as the way I did it with the little red tomato things, it worked out good. But yeah, I definitely want to figure out some other way to do it a little bit easier than that. I think maybe the walnut shells will be fantastic for that. All right, hope you had enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and if you have any other questions, please leave them below in the comments, and we will do another one. We'll save up some more and do another one. All right, have a great weekend.